As the Christmas holiday period
Wait, shout out to Just Thought Lounge.
approached in the winter of 2023, police in Broomfield, Colorado were dispatched to the home of a 43-year-old mother who had stopped responding to calls and messages from family.
Hello.
Oh, I was just, I'm their neighbor, and they called me like,
Yo, why this looks like the house from the dude, the Watts house.
we'll see if she'll answer the
Oh, yeah, he sent us as well, so.
Officers performing the welfare check made a gruesome discovery.
Oh, shit. Holy shit.
Kristil Krug was a respected
Oh,
and
hell
capable
no.
professional, as well as a dedicated and busy mother to 3 children. For months, Kristil had been enduring a living nightmare, a stalker sending shocking and offensive messages and violent threats.
It's a lot, and it has definitely...
Messages
What did it say?
and
He needs to drive safe. Don't want to clear rubber hose his tailpipe.
violent threats.
It's a lot, and it has definitely made me, like, paranoid everywhere I go, unfortunately, so...
Only in the wake of her death were investigators finally able to piece together the clues and reveal the truth behind her stalker and her killer.
Hands on your face! Hands on your face! No! Hands on your face!
Hi there, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today's case has a lengthy history. It's a tragic case with a horrific discovery, telling clues at the scene, and ultimately the unraveling of an intricate, clever, but brutal murder plot. Let's take a look.
Okay, intro. .5. Yeah, it's a little slow.
Broomfield,
Hold on, 1.5. 1.5, that one.
Colorado is located between the 2 larger cities of Denver and Boulder. In the wealthier areas, large family homes line the spacious residential streets. December 14th, 2023 was a dreary Thursday. The Broomfield Police Department received a call that morning to check in on a home located on Promontory Loop. The caller told dispatch that he had been unable to reach his wife for several hours. She had been intending to meet with a detective from the Broomfield PD that morning, he said. Her last message to him was sent at 8:56 a.m., roughly 20 minutes after he left for work. She was still at the house when he left.
Hi there. My name is Dan Krug. I don't think this is an emergency, but this feels really weird.
Okay.
My wife isn't responding to text messages or phone calls.
Okay. When you talked to her about 3 hours ago, was she okay? What was she having?
Dude, the fact that this dude called the cops on his own self is crazy.
Medical things, anything going on?
She asked me to pick up our daughter from school because she had to meet with
Yeah, I also say I don't think this is an emergency with knowing you fucking killed her and she's at home dead.
Martinez.
Okay. So she was
And
supposed to, like, come into the PD and meet with Martinez?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Okay.
Officer O'Hare of the Broomfield Police went to the address on Promontory Loop to check on Kristil Krug's welfare. When the officer approached the front door, he encountered a friend and neighbor who had likewise been sent by a family member to check in on Kristil.
Hello.
oh, I was just, I'm their neighbor, and they called me like, we'll see if she'll answer the
Oh, yeah, he sent us as well, so.
Yeah, I'm like,
Just next door? Okay.
all right, well, you got this.
Alrighty, man. Appreciate it.
He made sure to call her friend too so it won't look sus, but he's motherfucker still sus. Well, at least not yet.
The sound of barking from Pixel, the family dog, was the only noise from within the house.
Yeah, that's what she said. Oh, he called me too or something. Yeah, the husband called both of them.
Receiving no response at the
At least it seems like it. That's what she made it seem like.
door, the officer proceeded to the side of the house to check if there was a vehicle parked in the garage. Unable to see through the high windows, O'Hare pulled his patrol car into the drive, stood on the front bumper, and peered in.
Smart one, that one.
$151, send medical, and $110. I need a 4th entry. I got a female down in the garage. Brookville Police!
Damn, he fucking opened that door fucking fast, dude.
Open up this door before we break this bitch.
Brookville Police! Oh, shit.
At the bottom of the steps on the floor of the garage was the mother of 3, Kristil Krug. She was bleeding from a wound to the head and unresponsive.
Damn.
Husband said there was a stalker threatening to kidnap her, so I don't know. No, she's unresponsive. Decent head wound. I'll be right back, guys. I'm just going to the car here. Hey, man, just run interference for me.
As additional officers responded to the scene, cleared the house, and blocked off the street, pieces of the story began falling into place. At first, O'Hare thought that perhaps Kristil had been the victim of a horrible accident, a fall down the stairs in which she hit her head.
Well, she's CPR being done in the garage. She's got a good head wound. I think it's from falling down, but I'm going to read.
Yeah, that's what I don't get, bro. People, sick ass people, rather unalive their partner than fucking just get a divorce. Like, bro, your wife had kids. You guys had kids, bro. Now they're gonna end up with no fucking parents.
I'll do that right now.
The officer didn't see any blunt instruments, anything that could have been used as a weapon, left at the scene. After paramedics' efforts to revive Kristil failed, they found that the 43-year-old had not only suffered trauma to her head, but also a single stab wound. It was several inches in length, just above her heart. No knife was spotted at the scene either.
All we saw initially was the head trauma. As soon as we cut open her shirt to place the pads is when we noticed the stab wound. Got it. Okay. So,
there were no obvious signs of a struggle, in the form of defensive wounds on Kristil or a disturbance in the house. Aside from the violent scene in the garage, the home appeared orderly. Kristil's handgun, for which she had a concealed carry permit, was located in her purse. She had obviously not had an opportunity to retrieve it before being incapacitated from the attack. The medical examiner would find 3 distinct points of impact on the back of her head.
Yo, imagine she had that gun and would have pew-pewed her own husband. The husband would have got away with it, bro, if he survived. Shit, they wouldn't have believed her.
Bits and pieces of information began reaching the responding officers, explaining Kristil's connection to Detective Martinez. At that time, they knew only that Kristil had reported a stalker, a man she believed to be an ex-boyfriend, who had been threatening her in texts and emails since early October. The case was being handled by Detective Martinez.
Yeah, I don't know the backstory. Husband said there was a dude who's been stalking her and threatened to kidnap her. And Martinez was involved, and Martinez just said, hey, this is a big old... I don't know, dude. I don't know the history on that part. Martinez does, though, and he said he's coming in. So, like I told him, you can see if Butler needs photos with this big old house. Other than that, we're just kind of securing the scene and waiting for detectives, you know?
There were indications at the scene that the murder had been thoughtfully executed. 4 home security cameras, which captured most of the exterior of the house, had been disabled. 3 of them had been taken offline that morning, sometime around 8:15 a.m., coming back online just before police responded to the house.
Dude.
The only camera that had remained active throughout that time period was the garage door view. The front door camera was also found to have a piece of blue tape placed over its lens around the same time as it and 2 others went offline.
That's not sus at all. That's not sus at all, bro. No mom is, dude.
When the cameras came back on, its view was entirely obscured. Then there were questions about the point of entry.
Like, he wasn't even smart with it either, bro.
The garage door could have been forced open. Since Kristil was found in the garage and had likely been taken by surprise, this seemed like a logical deduction. Though, upon closer inspection, it seemed that Kristil had been alone inside the home with the door unlocked, or she unlocked the door for her attacker.
I kicked that, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. That's very interesting. Almost like dude might have stuck around from this way.
I wonder if maybe the door was unlocked. That's how we got in.
You know,
Was it deadbolted?
You know what? I don't know. I kicked it and it went pretty easy. So I'm going to say no.
No, it wasn't deadbolted. It was just unlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That bottom one does not even lock. There's no way to lock the bottom
door
one.
was unlocked.
It's all deadbolt.
Yeah, it was unlocked. That way, that's why the officer got in so fast. Shit, because you know, if it was locked at least 2-3 times for a try to get that shit open. But now that shit open right away, dude.
And I right away saw her on the ground, blood smear on the wall. I came around here and forced
The garage door looked
This video's gonna get you and the whole chat heated. All right. Well, I'm already kind of heated.
weird. Let's look at it. It looks not forced entry weird, but not proper alignment weird either. See what I'm talking about? It looks like maybe it's just, I don't know, dude.
just when you were in the house when you swept the house.
Yeah, we did. I didn't see anything like disturbance-wise or anything in the house. Outside the garage, just her car keys, and looked like she was just leaving. Unless she maybe got greeted at the front door and ran that way. I don't know. But her car keys were at her side. Or a set
Did
of
you
car
see
keys.
anything else on the inside?
No, nothing of note.
As detectives took stock of the evidence, Daniel Krug, who had initially called for the welfare check on his wife, arrived on scene.
Hey, stay back, stay back, stay back, stay back.
Oh my god.
to get his phone away from him because he's probably got access to this camera, and we obviously don't want him to look at it.
Other family
He's acting. I hate when they do that shit, bro. Just like Chris Watts.
members had also arrived at the house. Kristil's mother, Linda, who had been contacted by Dan directly, arrived shortly after Officer O'Hare. She was joined by her son and daughter-in-law, as well as the friend and neighbor who was
You're
at the house
hugging
when
the
the officer
killer,
arrived.
dude.
As the family grieved in the street, Dan gave police permission to begin searching the house.
I know it seems like a long time, but it's no time like now. We would like to consent to search the residence so we can continue our investigation and get the suspects.
Yes, go.
Do you understand what I'm asking you to do?
No, but go.
Inside the house, investigators found the meticulously documented evidence Kristil had compiled on her stalker. The 43-year-old worked as a project manager at a large technology company based out of Boulder. Kristil had always distinguished herself intellectually, having earned a bachelor's degree in biochemical engineering and moving on to an accomplished career in the tech sector. Beginning in early October, when she began receiving unwanted text messages and emails from an old college boyfriend, her instinct was to record and document everything. Her diary contained entries detailing each communication, the different phone numbers used by her stalker, various email addresses, and other details. She also took steps to protect herself. She purchased a gun, took training classes, and began to carry her weapon with her whenever she left the house.
Dude, imagine scaring your wife so much that she has to take all these classes because of your dumbass, bro. Oh my God. Crashing out, chat.
Investigators found a gun safe in the corner of the basement. There was a .22 caliber rifle, 3 swords, and a handgun lockbox. After the threats started, Kristil had 3 more cameras installed around the exterior of the house, in addition to the existing doorbell camera, and lights added to illuminate the property. She established a buddy system when she went out to run errands. She shared her phone location with family members. She also spoke with neighbors, explaining her situation and what to keep an eye out for. Throughout the month, the messages escalated into overt threats against herself and her husband. On Halloween, she received an email which contained a photo of Dan appearing to be outside of his workplace at the Colorado Department of Public Health, where he held a role in finance.
Bro, motherfucker just put this shit on a tripod and took the picture himself. No, mommy. Oh my God, bro. Like, how do you not see, as a husband, how do you not see who the alleged stalker is? This picture is like 2 feet away, bro.
Along with the photo was a note. This your husband? He needs to drive safe. Don't want a clear rubber hose in his tailpipe.
Yes, hi there. I need to report threatening emails and phone calls from a stalking ex, and just didn't know what would be the appropriate course here.
Do you live in Broomfield?
I live in Broomfield. I have no idea where he is.
That's okay. What's your address? Is there a restraining order in place between you two?
There's not, but I would definitely be curious about getting one, considering it's been threatened with violence against both me and my family.
Okay. And is it text messages, phone calls?
I have text messages and an email today that had a picture of my husband threatening to put something in his tailpipe.
After a message was left indicating that her stalker had deposited a bodily fluid on her car while she was seeing her dentist, Kristil had a Broomfield officer come to the house.
Kristil, how's it, Henry?
Yeah, nice to
Very
meet
good
you.
to meet you. I talked to Detective Martinez, so I kind of have an idea what's going on.
Yes, I did as well. I did not see any markings on the car.
Okay.
You can see like it's a little bit dirty, so I didn't see blood marks, but
You know, this is rare, but if somebody does do something weird like this, it's usually obvious.
Yeah.
I guess would be the,
I know.
the least.
Like, I wonder, he really thought he was going to get away with this shit, bro. Like, what went through his head to be like, you know what? Let me fuck with my wife real quick, dude. Like, some husbands don't want to fuck with their wife. They just want to, you know, fuck them. I don't know, bro. Like, what the fuck?
Kind of the least, I guess.
In that instance, neither Kristil nor the officer saw any sign that the stalker had done what he had claimed to her car. Nonetheless, this incident was reported along with the others. When she sat down with Detective Martinez, Kristil explained that her stalker called himself Anthony, an ex-college boyfriend whom she had not seen in person in over 20 years.
Okay, in this timeline, we dated summer of '99, very briefly. Like there was a breakup somewhere here, like also I did this kind of like also that you can see like way over here. Last contact I ever had with him, like he tried to reach out to me personally, saw me in person would have been like in the spring of 2001. Everything here the same question marks because I'm like, about? I'm just trying to remember like where I was living and where I had kids at the time. So I put everything in green where they're like just like little teeny things. It's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Found me on old information, so it's public information. Technically, I can't say that like he found me in a special way, but it was years later, right? That he came back with a quick email trying to check in. And these events here last maybe like within a period of a couple weeks. Usually it's a handful of email messages. Usually it's just like light, easy, like what's going on. Yeah, like trying to like, just kind of start a conversation, but it's all light, cordial, whatever. He says, let's get together. I'm like, no. Here he says, let's get together. I'm like, I have a serious boyfriend. Like we were living together at this time. And he's like, screw your boyfriend. And then, I got married in 2007. He's reaching out to me. He can see I have a kid. This is my profile picture of like my kid.
Damn, the fuck that she made a whole ass timeline, dude. She was prepared.
And I'm like, I have a family. No. And then again, where I'm like, I'm married with children over here. So.
Throughout the years, Anthony would reach out to inquire whether Kristil was interested in meeting with him. She always refused.
Yeah, that's my question too. He's been stalking her that fucking long. Like, I want to know how long was this whole case? Because as of right now, it seems like she's been doing it for a long ass time.
In 2007, after meeting years before online, she married Dan. They went on to have 3 children. At the time of her death, they were aged 14, 11, and 8. Kristil told Detective Martinez that the only good thing about her circumstance was that her stalker appeared completely disinterested in her children. In all of his unhinged messages to her, he had never once mentioned them. Before the stalking began, there had been some concern that someone had tried to gain...
Yeah, Tracas, welcome in. Yep, welcome in, Tracas. Correct. The husband was pretending to be her ex. Yep.
Entry to the Krug family home through their garage. In September of that year, Dan returned home to find an unknown individual running from the property.
Don't think it's related, but there was, my husband caught somebody going through a garage. Like, he came home, the garage door was up, and he caught somebody running out of a garage. We subsequently installed 2 more cameras on our property. So I get notifications of anybody that's like walking, driving.
So those all safe?
Yes, they all safe.
Hi there. My name is Dan Krug. I am a little late, but I'm reporting a trespasser on my property.
What happened?
About 4:50 or so, I was returning home from the store. My garage door was open. As I approached it, someone ran out and ran through my backyard and got away.
Oh.
So that's really all I have to go on.
Have you noticed if anything was missing?
The only thing I think is missing was a spare house key.
Okay. Do you think that person possibly took it?
Blanco Mania, dude. This fool planned everything. How the fuck does... Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, this fool was planning from the start, bro. The only thing he took was a spare house key. Bro, that way... Oh my god, this dude is... That's crazy. Like, who has a spare house key in the fucking... outside of the house? I mean, I get it. Some people do, but like... Yeah, I don't know, man. This dude planned everything so... quote unquote, well?
That's the best guess my wife and I got.
In November, Dan also sat down with the detective. After his wife had received the email on Halloween threatening him directly, she filled him in on the situation. By the time of her death, they had both been emotionally traumatized from weeks of threats and uncertainty.
Largely, I've been focused on her and the kids, and I've been holding up an house. Yeah. I went to the grocery store briefly on Tuesday, and someone behind me dropped a can, and I fucking panicked.
Don't fucking cry.
So what am I doing? I'm panicking. And I'm doing a shit job of protecting my wife. So I'm not doing good. Yeah, I can see that.
And I keep trying to remind myself, this is intending to be terrorizing. This is intending to scare me. So I'm like, okay, take it.
Yeah, intention to make your life miserable and cause disruption. And
yes.
Some sort of emotional turmoil is exactly what he's going for.
Yes.
The couple's emotional turmoil and fears over the stalking seemed to culminate in the worst possible outcome only weeks later in December.
No way.
Dan was escorted to the police station by a victim's advocate and placed in a...
Imagine how her family feels when they were consoling him after all this shit. And then later to find out he's the one that did everything with. Oh, hell, I cannot wait for this Netflix fucking documentary, bro.
Soft room for questioning.
It's not your fault. I'm sorry I didn't answer.
While he consoled Dan, Detective Martinez awaited the results of expedited search warrants on the stalker's data. This included the origins of the email addresses and phone numbers used to communicate with Kristil, information that could prove the stalker's identity and hopefully locate him. Although the information had already been requested weeks earlier, it took the unfortunate event of Kristil's murder to force a rapid response to these warrants. In addition, detectives were busy searching through Kristil's cell phone and items from inside the house. Dan helpfully ran through the home security system with the detectives. Cameras captured Kristil leaving to drop off the children before 8 a.m. that morning, then returning and backing her car into the garage at 7:57. The front, side, and back door cameras were disabled at 8:15. In Kristil's phone, investigators located 2 unsent text messages, the first from 8:19. It was intended for Detective Martinez and read, "I can't do this anymore. I confess. I've had an affair for 18 months. We framed Anthony and pushed it on Dan. I just broke up with my boyfriend and we're coming to the station to give statements. Be there in 30 minutes. The second message, also not sent.
Wait. Who sent that?
In Kristil's phone, investigators located 2 unsent text messages, the first from 8/19. It was intended for Detective Martinez and read, "I can't do this anymore."
Oh, Kristil sent that to the officer?
"I confess, I've had an affair for 18 months. We framed Anthony and pushed it on Dan. I just broke up with my boyfriend and we're..."
Oh, this motherfucker wrote it. This dude wrote it. Okay. Wait. Yeah, he wrote this, huh?
"Coming to the station to give statements. Be there in 30 minutes." The second message, also not sent, was for Kristil's brother, Lars. "I can't keep up the lies. I had an affair for 18 months.
Yeah, welcome in, Danny. Welcome in. Yeah, I know, I get it. Yeah, he was setting this whole thing up. All right, thank you, Danny.
Framed Anthony. I just confessed to Martinez. My now ex-boyfriend and I are going there now. Push Dan to not press charges." Ostensibly unaware of these unsent texts, Dan told Martinez that he suspected Kristil was not being truthful with him. She had withheld the information about her stalker from him for nearly a month. When she finally told him, he nicknamed him the Kick Man, because in part, he wanted to kick him out of their lives.
Geek.
I don't think she was keeping secrets. No way. She didn't tell me about Kick Man. She keeps disappearing for hours. She kept leaving early, coming home late. I asked, where? She wouldn't tell me. I asked her if that was something. She said no.
While detectives continued to speak delicately with Dan Krug, information from the scene and their warrants was pouring in. Along with the many notes that Kristil had written about her stalker were ones revealing the state of her marriage. She wrote that she wanted a divorce. She did not trust her husband with the children, and she no longer loved him. However, there was nothing in her handwriting suggesting that she was having an affair. 1 minute after the text was typed out for her brother confessing to one, Kristil's phone was powered off. The only camera that remained online showed Dan leaving for work 2 minutes later at 8:24. The last communication sent from Kristil's phone was much later at 8:56. That was the message to Dan, asking him to collect their daughter later that day. When detectives returned to the room to speak with Dan further, they read him his Miranda rights.
Yeah, welcome in. She wanted a divorce and she didn't trust him with their own kids.
Dan joked that since his brother married a prosecutor, her voice was in his head, telling him to ask for a lawyer. He didn't.
And typical confidentially married prosecutor. So I had Lynn's voice in my head going, get a fucking lawyer. I just want this to be done. I don't want to go home. I just don't want to.
The detectives began by asking Dan to detail the trouble in his marriage. They were keen to understand whether the concern created by Kristil's stalker had caused the couple to grow closer.
Maybe even brought you guys closer, not maybe emotionally closer, but you guys are physically sort of working on things besides your kids.
There was a
mutual.
Yeah, there was, over the course of November, there was a better team feel.
Okay.
You know, we respond to crisis.
Right.
I had her as a partner to protect the family, but it didn't feel like a partner who valued me.
I mean, it sounds like you feel like you were completely, I don't know, written off by her, or that she has zero care for you anymore.
I don't want a divorce.
Okay.
I've loved her for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking lying,
Dan was asked
dude.
to walk the detectives through what he thought could have occurred that morning.
I left. She was in the kitchen. She would have had whatever meetings that she had. And then she said she was meeting with you. But you know nothing about that, so I have no idea what the fuck that is. What's his name? The other detective said that the cameras were turned off. That shouldn't happen. The only way that the cameras can be turned off is through the app. One of us has to hit the button. Someone came to the door. She doesn't usually answer the door. But she must have, because...
It was probably that, you know what? It was probably the stalker that trespassed their house and took the key. Remember? It was probably him.
She must have. So in my brain, the story that I have is someone came to the door. Maybe she went outside to get a package. And they must have come in. You think either she was taken off guard or it was somebody familiar to her? I don't know who familiar would have been. She had to have been taken off guard.
While Dan sat with the detectives offering theories of the murder, he was unaware that Martinez had managed to track down Kristil's alleged stalker weeks before. The detective needed the search warrants to come through, linking the threatening messages to Anthony or to someone else. That afternoon, officers in Anthony's home state of Utah paid him a visit at his home, which was more than a 6-hour drive to Broomfield. They confirmed he had been...
Yeah, I was going to say that, bro. Like, you know, they're going to contact the ex-boyfriend and speak to him and go through his phone and everything. Bro, you're cooked, brother. You're cooked.
At work until 9:45 the night before. The next day, when Kristil was killed, he was shopping with his wife until 1:30. His alibi was confirmed by witnesses, store cameras, and license plate readers. There was no way that Anthony, the man Dan called Kickman, committed the murder.
We had already spoken with Anthony. There's no way that he was in town today. I have nothing. I'm fucking terrified to bring my children home.
Data from the search warrants confirmed what the detective had suspected. Multiple emails sent to Kristil had originated from an IP address registered to the Colorado General Government in Greenwood Village, Dan Krug's workplace.
The Gmail account that, and you can speak more specifically.
And that text now number we were talking about, the number that he initially texted Kristil from. The Gmail account, the Kickman account that you guys initially received with a photo of you in it, and the phone number, those originated through their IP addresses at your office.
Oh, no.
As far as we know right now, there's no physical way that...
It's like, no, really? Really? He made sure to get his cup of coffee before he started his catfish day. Let's not say.
That Kickman could have been involved in this based on where he's at right now. So, you know, the mystery continues, and...
Things are certainly pointing in one direction right now.
All this time you've been looking for him, for the protection there, and you just found him today, like that.
I've been looking at you, but I've been waiting for these records to come back.
As the interview progressed, Dan became increasingly quiet and still. He spoke slower, claiming to be in a state of emotional and physical exhaustion from the day's events. Instead of offering a fiery defense of his innocence, he seemed to struggle to summon the energy to respond to the detective's assertions.
Yeah, because he's thinking about what's the next lie going to be, bro. He's scared.
At all. They posited that Dan was the alleged stalker, that he had hoped the fabricated threat to his wife would cause her to run to him for safety and protection, drawing them closer together. Instead, she kept it from him for nearly a month. She took steps to protect herself, enrolled in self-defense classes, purchased and trained with her handgun, maintained a meticulous stalker log and communication with police.
Dude, imagine being a mom of 3, taking classes, self-defense classes, gun classes, all this shit, bro. Being a mom of 3. Bro, this lady was terrified. Terrified. Bro, you know a mom of 3 has no fucking time, bro. No fucking time in her day, but she took time out of her day, maybe time out of work, dude, to do this shit.
And she coordinated with trusted family members and friends.
You don't get the response and the openness you once did for about 28 days, from October 2nd to October 31st. So you amp it up a little bit. Send a photo of yourself to her, an account you created. See what her response is.
I drew that conclusion that a lot of this stalking stuff in this report that you guys, that of this Kickman, has brought you closer, and maybe given a little bit of hope in your relationship that you can accomplish something together.
I don't know where you're going with that.
You're using this.
My brain is fried.
I'm sure.
Kind of using this circumstance to bring you guys closer together. You yourself said that. Having the common goal of circling the wagons.
It's something along the lines that it felt like we had more teamwork.
Right.
I think there's a big gap between teamwork and rekindling of romance.
Dan spent roughly 4 hours at the police station that day before declaring that he was finished with questioning.
You're done. Yeah, please have my phones and keys to my car.
So the last thing that we're going to do before we get to that point is we need to process you for physical.
Forensic experts processing Dan's clothing found no blood residue. Similarly, teams sent to search the vehicle he had driven to work that day returned nothing of evidentiary value. They had been unable to isolate a cleanup at the scene or definitively point to a murder weapon. If Dan Krug was the killer, it was likely to be digital evidence, not physical, that would prove his guilt. As Dan awaited a ride from the station following his questioning, he pled with Martinez to find the man who murdered his wife.
As a husband, as a father.
Bitch, you don't get to say that. You don't get to fucking say that, dude.
Not as police and family almost respected. I don't care if you capture him, I just motherfucker today. He took my children's mother for Christmas. They're never gonna get over that. Find him.
Ooh, I can't wait till they know it's him, bro.
As a father. Don't just assume it's me. Keep looking.
Over the following 2 days, the crime scene was thoroughly processed. So too was Kristil's car, as well as Dan's office at the state government building. Further digital evidence was compiled from Dan's laptop and cell phone. Those closest to Kristil reached out with their own theories, including her mother, Linda. Linda expressed concern that in the chaos and distress on the day of the murder, she had neglected to convey key facts to investigators, primarily about her daughter's husband.
Just tell me what's on your mind.
Okay, so, setting aside, because we all know that Dan's under suspicion. So just setting aside the culprit, my daughter was going to get divorced from Dan.
Okay.
She couldn't stand him. He was too volatile with the kids. And she told me that she was going to just live in the basement because she couldn't get enough proof that Dan was being volatile to the kids. And so, I don't know if did I say that or did somebody say that? I don't know.
You did tell me that.
I'm just nervous about this and just some of the conversations that we're having with him.
Even the mom-in-law knew.
To get rid of all her stuff. And
Could you give me a little bit more insight on that, Linda? What kind of conversations have you had with Dan following Thursday?
Well, just the one that was really troubling me was just the fact that he, was talking about he wants to sell the house. And I understand here's the thing. Everything he says could be justified away, right? And that, I know it was my daughter's frustration because Dan can be pretty manipulative. That's just his kind of character. What really struck me is that he was talking about throwing her things out, and I can get rid of her, he actually said, I can get rid of her bras and underwear and, t-shirts and whatever. And, we can put the dresses and shoes that the kids love down away and zip them away. And, this may be just Dan's way. He's quirky and weird of dealing with it. But it just did not sit right with me at all.
Linda questioned why Dan had chosen to call her directly that morning to check on Kristil. He had never done so previously, always preferring to contact Kristil's brother or his sister-in-law if he needed to reach out to family. She told the detective that she did not wish to falsely accuse Dan, but that she believed he had motive when he was speaking with her.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, he tries to make you feel that he's the victim and that you're wrong. And, there's almost sometimes he'll get really syrupy sweet, but you can see and feel underneath this kind of menacing type attitude.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel good, right? You can tell he's seething with anger. And the dogs, Pixel would always bark at him. We could always tell when Dan was about to blow because Pixel would be just barking like crazy at him.
Linda's intuition proved correct. Detectives were able to trace the phone numbers used by Kristil's stalker to burner phones purchased with gift cards. These store purchases were then linked to Dan through location tracking on his personal cell phone. His phone also revealed a curious search history from around 9 p.m. on the night before his wife was killed. At 8:55, Dan searched, how hard would you have to hit someone on the head to make them unconscious? How durable is the human head to withstand trauma? 2 minutes later, he searched, how hard a hit for head trauma to go unconscious? But that was not all. The final text message sent from Kristil's cell phone was timestamped at 8:56 a.m., over 20 minutes after Dan was captured by the only working security camera leaving for work. Data analysis showed that Kristil's phone was powered off and inactive at the time that message was sent. This meant that she could not have typed and sent it after her husband left for work. It had been scheduled by someone much earlier to send to Dan's device after he had left the house.
He ain't that smart, dog.
Broomfield police collected hundreds of hours of home security footage from neighboring homes covering the early morning hours to afternoon period on the day of the murder. They noted every vehicle that passed near to the house on Promontory Loop. They looked at every individual on the street. Though the killer had disabled the cameras at the Krug house, it would have been nearly impossible to avoid being captured by any of the dozens of other cameras that covered the surrounding area. No one was captured approaching the house that morning. The killer must have already been inside.
Nah.
On December 16th, 2 days after the murder, Dan Krug was surrounded by law enforcement in the parking lot of the King Soopers in Broomfield.
Hands on your face! Your hands on your face!
He knows, bro. He knows. Got his ass.
From Dan's pocket, police pulled a handwritten note. It was addressed to his mother. He wrote of being lied to and used. He stated that his conscience was clear. He declared his innocence.
Do you want me to tell your kids that you killed their mother, or do you want somebody else to? Okay.
Good luck.
Dan refused to speak with police after his arrest. He was charged with first-degree murder and pleaded not guilty.
Of course.
Daniel Krug went to trial in April 2025. His defense argued that there was no physical evidence linking Dan to the crime. The case was circumstantial and, in their opinion, weak. The state pointed to Dan's motive, the digital evidence linking him to the stalking, the disabled security cameras, and the cleverly scheduled text message from Kristil's phone that had been intended to be his alibi.
We know the physical evidence, and there is an enormous disconnect between that and the circumstantial picture the prosecution wants you to believe. Mr. Krug did not kill his wife. He did not commit these crimes.
This was about Dan losing control. He was not in love with Kristil, and that resentment had turned to rage by the time we get to December 14th. Think about what he did to her. You don't do that to somebody you love. Think about the absolute nightmare and hell that he made the last few months of her life.
The jury deliberated for roughly one full day before finding Dan guilty of first-degree murder, 2 counts of stalking, and criminal impersonation. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Just had a sense of beauty and style that it was so enjoyable to watch. As a mom, she got her kids involved in so many things. She was always running them all over the place with complete dedication to make sure that they were involved in the things that made them happy. So she juggled a lot of balls and pulled it off amazingly. There's no amount of justice that can bring her back. But it is a relief to know that the person who thought he was going to get away with it, with this convoluted alibi picture and trying to blame it on somebody else, that didn't happen.
And that was the tragic case of Kristil Krug. Thank you for joining me, and a special thanks this week to Sylvia Line, Shayna Hobson.
Shout out, bro. Shout out. What a fucking story, man. May she rest in peace. Yes.